What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're diving into Battlefield 6 and ranking every single pistol in the game from worst to best. We'll be testing damage, comparing stats, and mostly importantly, seeing how each one actually performs in real matches. Is it just a backup weapon, or can it hold its own as a reliable secondary? Maybe even a primary in the right hands. By the end of this video, you know exactly which sidearm you should be running in Battlefield 6. If you enjoy this kind of breakdown and want more weapon guides, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps out the channel and keeps you up to date with all the latest Battlefield content. Alright, let's jump into the rankings. We are starting off with the ES 5.7, which in the list is the second pistol you unlock. Now, the rate of fire of this pistol is the best out of all pistols. So if you have a good trigger finger and you can match up to 450 rounds per minute with your trigger finger, you might still like this weapon. It has one of the slower reload times. It's slower than the P18 and the M45. However, it is faster than the M44. The M44 by far is the slowest reload speed. Also, the recon on this gun is pretty okay. There's just one big problem with this gun. That is, it does 20 damage up close. Now, pistols, you will usually mostly use them up close because you're fighting in secondaries. You need to pull out the pistol quick. There's no time to reload anymore. So you're gonna have to go to switch, and hopefully the pistol does enough damage. Well, with a good trigger finger, of course, it can pull some damage out quickly. But if we're going to compare it to, let's say, the P18, for example, it does 25 damage at a rate of fire of 400. So it's only 50 rate of fire slower, but it does 5 extra damage, which makes it, instead of a 20 damage, a 25 damage. That makes it a 4-shot kill. The ES15, it just didn't feel good. It's one of those pistols that it feels like it takes forever to get a kill, especially when you're getting out of that range of the 20 damage and eventually you start getting 6 to 7 bullet per kill range. I noticed something on this pistol is that the damage drop off isn't very big. I was testing this in the fire range. I noticed that with every single pistol, by the way, you will see that later on, that the damage drop off from the pistols is actually quite good. So they still, you know, do an okay amount of damage. I mean, it's still relatively to a pistol, so the damage isn't going to be great. So the ES 5.7, it doesn't feel good as a secondary, and it also doesn't feel good as a pistol on its own, because you're going to be having to 5-shot players up close, and with the fast time to kill of Battlefield 6, that just doesn't work that well. Moving on to the next pistol, which is called the M45A1. This is the third pistol in the list of pistols we have right now. It is actually a pretty decent one as a secondary. I had to put it above the ES 5.7. We're going to first talk about the stats of this pistol. It does 33 damage point blank up close, basically, which means it is usually a 3-shot kill, with a rate of fire of 327, which is slower than the ES 5.7 and the P18. It is faster than the revolver, the M44. The pistol has the fastest reload speed out of all the pistols in the game right now, and a pretty good mobility, which you would hope from a pistol, but the mag size by default is 7. Here is the big down part of this pistol. However, it works really good as a secondary. It just doesn't work good on its own. So if you're trying to get kills, if you know there's a player somewhere and you run out of bullets with your primary, this is not really the gun to pull out. You can't really allow yourself to miss too many shots, and if there's multiple players, you're going to be running into problems really quickly. I had to put it above the ES 5.7 because I feel like it works greater as a secondary, but it is worse than the M44 and the P18 simply because it just doesn't really work that well on its own. The 3-shot kill potential is very nice, but you will notice that the damage drop off is huge on this gun. You will quickly having to fire 4 to 5 shots to kill a player, and with that small mag size, that is a pretty big problem for this one. So we're putting the M45A1 on the third spot. Up next on the second position, we have the P18 pistol. I had to put this on second place. Good news, because this is the starter pistol you have right away when you start gaming. It has a default max size of 17 with a damage number of 25, meaning it is a 4-shot kill. Quickly becomes a 5-shot kill, well, with a rate of fire of 400, which is very achievable for the average gamer. You don't need a crazy fast trigger finger for that. You can deal damage pretty fast with this gun compared to, let's say, the ES 5.7, and it works better for range than the M45. With the reload speed of 1.9 seconds, it is slightly faster as well as the ES 5.7 and a little bit slower than the M45. However, you don't need to reload as often because you got that max size of 17. Also with this pistol, I noticed that it works pretty decent on its own. You can actually have a pretty good game with this pistol on its own, and I didn't notice that with the previous two before. That's why I definitely had to put it on a higher position. Also works great as secondary because up close it does 25 damage. So if you do a little bit of damage to a person and you run out of bullets and you can switch, usually it is to potentially 1-shot kill, which I thought was quite nice. It's a very good pistol. Gets even better when you unlock an extended mag and put its sights on there. There's certain attachments. You can put a laser sight, which makes the hip fire a little bit better. It goes for all pistols, of course, but by default the P18 is actually quite good. The damage drop off already talked about is pretty good on by default on pistols, I noticed, which is even crazier on the M44, which we're going to talk about in a second. But the P18 with a 17 bullet mag, you can actually take out players from a mid-range as well. Let's say they're not moving, because it gets pretty hard to shoot moving targets with a bullet velocity of 350. The other two pistols have a really slow bullet velocity as well. But when they're not moving, a semi-automatic pistol, it's going to be pretty okay to take out players from long range as well. So the P18 in second position. And we're moving over to the number one secondary in Battlefield 6, which is the M44. It is the revolver. It's the only revolver we have in the game so far. I'm sure there's going to be new revolvers coming to the game, but this gun actually surprised me. So what's one disappointing thing about this revolver is that the one-shot headshot is not very far. You can upgrade it to where it becomes a more consistent one-shot headshot kill, but I think it's a one-shot headshot kill up to like 5, maybe 10 meters. I tested it in the firing range and you can only get the target up to, I think it is 10 meters, but you're standing like 11 meters away from it. I think it might be a one-shot headshot up to 10 meters, but why I had to put it on the number one position, because it is a very consistent 2-shot kill within the range you would most likely use a secondary. The headshot multiplier is the highest. It has a 1.5 headshot multiplier compared to the other pistols, which has a 1.3 multiplier headshot. It has the fastest bullet velocity, but it's mainly the damage that is insane. What I really like to run the revolver for is just quickly taking out targets when I'm on the flank. You switch out to the revolver, 2-tap a player, and you can continue. It's so much faster than the other pistols. So actually has one of the faster time to kills than any other pistol in the game. Reload speed though, 3.4 seconds, almost twice as slow as the the M45A1, which had a 1.8 second reload speed. So that's one big down part, but you can really quickly take out 3 targets from this player. Now the next thing is what surprised me. It is the damage from range. So I noticed that after like, let's say 20 meters, I believe, it becomes a 3-shot kill, which is not really a problem for a secondary. You do a couple of damage, you do a little bit of damage with the sniper, for example. You can quickly finish him off with 1 shot of the pistol. Now here's the insane part, that 33 damage, it actually maintains it for a while. So for the first, let's say 10 meters, 20 meters, it does 60 damage. And after a certain length, it becomes a 33 damage, and that damage number barely drops off. So I tested it in the firing range. The furthest target in the firing range was still 33 damage, which means if you combine this with a sniper, you can body shot a player. If you do more than 67 damage, it is a 1-shot with the pistol. So super easy to switch to the pistol and finish them off, which is a great strat for aggressive snipe, but it's also a good strat for aggressive playing in general. Just the damage drop off blew my mind when I was playing with the revolver. I would love for this revolver to be a little bit more of a consistent one-shot headshot, but there is a bullet ammunition kind of thing you can upgrade. I would definitely have to put that to the test, but the M44 definitely a deserved winner. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think of this type of video, if you enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.